welcome back to the Cool Fear Channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is 10 for adult collectors and not children. And welcome to episode 63 of Coffee and Toys, guys. As always, we'll go over this week's channel updates, this week's toy haul, this week's toy news, and so much more. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel's all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so you stay notified when I do upload new content. If you do enjoy this video or any other videos that I put out, please remember to give them a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. With all of that out of the way, guys, once again, welcome to episode 63 of Coffee and Toys, guys. There's really not too much in terms of channel updates for this week, which is always good, right? Nothing changes, everything stays the same routine. The only real update that I do have is that I am going to try and lock down Coffee and Toys Live for this Thursday with Austin Nicholas. Like I said, I've been saying I'm going to bring it back. We've been talking about it. He's gotten busy, I've gotten busy, but finally, I think it's time for us to finally lock it down and get it done. So I'm hoping that this Thursday we can get that up and running for you guys. So I will keep you guys updated on my stories and everything. So head on over to Cool Figures on Instagram if you haven't already followed me there. So that way you can stay up to date on all the channel updates as well. Not really a channel update per se, but just kind of like a story attached to the channel. When I first started the podcast and everything, I kind of tested out the days to release it. I tested out Friday, I believe. I tested out Saturday, and I finally tested out Sunday as well. And I found that on Saturdays, my video didn't do too well, which makes sense because a lot of the bigger name toy YouTubers release their stuff, their news weekly stuff on Saturday. So I feel like a lot of people are drawn to those channels. They watch those channels and then they go about their day. So I thought to myself, after watching stuff on YouTube myself as well, that Sundays are pretty dead. There's not really much on Sundays. And so I thought that would be a great day for me to post my podcast because when there's not really too much new content out there, I can provide a new video, and it's not going to be just like a 3 or 4 or 10-minute video where you throw it on and then next you know it's over and you're like, oh crap, now what can I do or what can I watch? You know, while everything else is stuff you've already seen or just stuff that isn't really interesting. So that was kind of just my mentality when I decided on a day to upload my podcast weekly. And it also benefited me because I had a full day plus a few hours after I finished filming on Fridays to edit my podcast and get it up and ready. But as you guys know, that's not always the case. It doesn't always premiere on time at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as it should on Sundays. Sometimes it's a little later in the day. Sometimes on rare occasions it's on Monday. But it gets up nonetheless. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, like I said, on Saturday, I felt like people migrated more towards the larger toy channels for their weekly updates. And of course, one of those being the Foosh. You know, they put up a weekly news segment every week on Saturday. And, you know, a lot of people watch it, including myself. But then he had a wrench in his schedule. He had to switch it up to Sunday. And he actually preferred to like it more on Sunday because, well, for beneficial reasons, like I do mine on Sunday as well. You have a full day on Saturday to edit. You have, you know, hours after you finish editing on Friday. And then you can get it up and uploaded and everything like that. So I guess they're posting their weeklies on Sundays for the time being. So all I ask is that after you're done watching the Fooscast, you come on over to the Cool Fears channel, have a cup of coffee, and let's talk some toys as well. I know you guys will be done talking about toys with old Robo and everything, but if you still have it in you, come talk some more toys with me on Sundays. So with that being said, guys, no real toy haul this week. I've been a good boy and I haven't spent any money, thankfully. So I just went ahead and brought down my NECA quarter scale Mikey down from the shelf to keep me some company here on the table. And so that way it doesn't look so empty right here. But yeah, he's still such a phenomenal figure. You know, the figure that kickstarted my love and want for quarter scale figures, which I still am a little mad at you about it, but how can you stay mad at Mikey, right? So, yeah, no real toy haul this week, guys, as I said, and that was pretty much the only channel update was we're going to try and get Coffee and Toys live this Thursday. So, before we get into this week's toy news, guys, we do, of course, have to address the big elephant in the room, and that being the new DCU lineup. I mean, come on, how many of you were anticipating, waiting on the edge of your seat for James Gunn to announce what we are going to be seeing with the DC in the next 8 to 10 years? And That's exactly what he laid out for us, the next 8 to 10 years in DC. So thankfully, we're still keeping, the Joker movie and the sequel. We'll see how that one turns out. And of course, Matt Reeves is the Batman. He said anything that doesn't pertain to his DCU is going to be titled Elseworlds. So that way we know that it's not attached to the DCU. So that's something good to know, that we are going to have the ability to have these removed movies from the mainline DCU and just title them Elseworlds, and maybe we can have a standalone Superman movie that has nothing to do with the DCU timeline, and in his universe he's the only hero. I think that would be a really good Superman movie. Just focusing straight on Superman and him having abilities and all that stuff. I think that could do really, really well. So this 8 to 10 year chapter, he's considering them chapters, is titled Gods and Monsters. And I feel like this is a combination of the things that we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing gods like Superman, Wonder Woman. I know he doesn't have any powers, but Batman's definitely up there since he's part of the Trinity. And also monsters, because we are actually going to be getting movies such as Swamp Thing, and apparently, according to James Gunn, it's gonna have a horror kind of twist to it and everything, because it is a monster film. So along with that, we are also going to be getting The Authority, which is essentially the DC's The Boys, from what I can understand from the description given to everybody. What it's going to be, and that is going to be a film. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because some of the things that I talk about here are TV and some of them are film. Obviously, by now you guys all know all about this, but I'm just curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on all of this as well, and also give my thoughts on all of this and talk about it. So aside from that, we're also going to be getting a Booster Gold TV series, which I really find as a very interesting hero to pick. Maybe it's just my recollection of the hero from, say, Justice League Unlimited, and him just being a very annoying hero, and me just being like, I want nothing to do with him. But maybe James Gunn works his magic and turns it all around, kind of like he did with Polka Dot Man. I mean, who would have thought we would have fallen in love with Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad? I mean, it was just such an out there character, and yet he was the star of the movie. He really was. So I'm pretty interested to see how he changes my mind on Booster Gold. Like I said, we are going to be getting a Swamp Thing film with a horror twist. We are going to be getting a TV series entitled Waller with Viola Davis. And she is going to be carrying over from the DCU, which makes you wonder what other characters or actors are going to be carried over. Is she kind of like, maybe J.K. Simmons, who's just such a perfect casting for that character that we really can't see anybody else in that position, whereas we can see another Batman, we can see another Superman, another Aquaman, Wonder Woman. But for those particular characters, it feels like these actors were just made for them. Just like I said, J.K. Simmons with J. Jonah Jameson, he's just such a perfect casting for that role that they had to carry him over into the MCU. So we are going to be getting a TV series based off her. We are going to also be getting a Lanterns TV series, which is going to be following both John Stewart and Hal Jordan. So two of the most iconic Green Lanterns. So that will definitely be an interesting TV series. Next up, we are going to be also getting a Paradise Lost TV series in order to introduce us to this universe's Wonder Woman. I think that would be really cool, just a TV series all on Themyscira, and just seeing some hot buff chicks get at it. I think that'd be really fun to see. But moving on from that, we are also getting a Creature Commander TV/animation series. So this will be an animated series. However, James Gunn has already said that even if we've seen them in animation, it doesn't mean they can't cross over into live action and be the same character and vice versa. So the possibilities are pretty endless the way he's setting things up. So I'm super happy and excited about that. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This will be a very interesting take on the Supergirl character, because apparently this is going to be based off a comic run, whereas instead of being kind of brought to Earth in a time capsule or a ship or something that's kind of isolated and everything, she grows up on a chunk of Krypton, and she unfortunately has to watch everybody around her perish while she, being the youngest person, I guess, survives it all and watches these horrors. And so when she comes down to earth, it's a lot different of a experience for her than when, she comes by herself already without anybody. She didn't really have any loved ones. She left them all behind already. Whereas in this TV series, she cares for them. She watches them, like I said, literally perish, just slowly die away while she survives. So it's going to be a very interesting take on the Supergirl character, and I very much look forward to seeing that. Next up, let's talk about Superman Legacy. How many of you are still heartbroken that Henry Cavill is no longer Superman? Because I know I definitely am. I mean, come on. The guy was literally perfect casting for the Man of Steel. I mean, he just carry him over. Nobody's going to give a fuck, but he wants a younger Superman. So hopefully he picks somebody that actually has that Superman appearance and will stick to the role for the next 8 to 10 years or more, because he's got a plan. But I'm super excited to see what he's going to bring to the table with a Superman movie. We've seen where it can go in the darker end. We've seen where it can go in the lighter end in the 70s Superman. I'm hoping they find a good middle ground. It's a little dark and gritty, but at the same time, there's that sense of hope and pride and positivity through what we get seeing the Man of Steel. He's safety. He's, when you see the Man of Steel, you're good. He's Superman. He can withstand anything. So anything on this earth that you're going through, he's got you. You're falling down a building, he's got you. You're about to get crushed, he's got you. Obviously, I know Superman's fake and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, they need to find a good middle ground where it's that, but also moments where he kind of goes through some shit. You know what I mean? So that brings us to the final project, and I'm sure you guys know who exactly I'm talking about. And of course, I had to save him for last because we're going to talk about him for quite a bit. Well, maybe not, maybe so. We'll see how it goes. But of course, we are going to be getting a Brave and the Bold Batman story. So this will include Damian Wayne as Robin. Now, as you guys know, I personally am a Robin hater. Now, I will say that Damian Wayne, out of all the Robins, is probably my favorite as well, James Gunn, because he is a trained assassin from birth, essentially. So it makes sense why he's fighting alongside Batman. And on top of that, he's actually Batman's biological son. So it kind of cuts the crap in terms of, well, why is Batman, fighting crime with a 10-year-old that's not even his kid? Well, because that 10-year-old that is his kid now is a fucking trained assassin, and Batman's actually trying to control him and have him, go back and kind of lay back a little bit more. So, I'm okay with this version of Robin. I'm hoping that they get a really fun, good kid actor. Seems like a lot of kid actors nowadays just aren't good. I hate to say it, but I mean, look at back in the old days in the 40s, the 70s, the early thousands. I mean, even kid actors on Nickelodeon were better than what kid actors are nowadays. Nowadays, they're all a bunch of TikTok star actors type people that they know the camera's on them. Back then, these actors it was like watching college football, and then versus watching the NFL in terms of watching these actors on Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, because they were actively trying to get known and trying to get into bigger movies. Now it doesn't matter what you do with TV. TV is like a side project from your TikTok and stuff like that. So it's way different. So I'm really hoping that they get a legitimate actor, just like they did with The Last of Us and the actress that they chose for Ellie. She's a serious actor. You can tell she's not pretending or wanting to be an actress. She is an actress, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping they go the same route with Damian Wayne and picking a good Robin. And I really, 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 really fucking hope that they also pick a no-name actor to play Batman. We've had plenty of named actors play Batman already. Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George fucking Clooney that almost fucking killed it, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson. I would like to see somebody that has no name step into the role of Batman and just go at it. I've been asking this for a long time, probably since the Christian Bale trilogy ended, but I really want to see a no-name actor or somebody that's not well known and a named actor like Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, George fucking Clooney play Batman. I feel like that is the best route to go. So we'll see with that. Apparently, we're not going to see the first film until 2025, guys. So I know it seems so far away, to be honest, when you say 2025, but in reality, it's only 2 years away. Sorry, guys, got real existential right there. But yeah, so now that we know about the lineup for the DCU, what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Which ones are you more excited about? Are you more excited about the TV series or the films themselves? With that being said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Hasbro before we get into this week's toy news. Because as you guys know, they had a big Star Wars celebration live stream this week to announce a bunch of figures that they're going to be releasing. And shortly after that, they did go ahead and release a statement saying that besides Clone Commander Jesse or ARC Trooper Jesse, there are going to be no pre-orders for any of those other figures or the Black Series helmet or the Vintage Collection. Everything's just going to show up in stock on websites, in retailers, and that's when you're going to be able to get your chance at getting those items. So apparently no other pre-orders will be available besides ARC Trooper / Clone Commander Jesse. And we'll talk all about Clone Commander / ARC Trooper Jesse when we get to that section of the news. So just be aware, it seems like Hasbro is just going the opposite route of pre-orders. In my opinion, I kind of prefer that because they are just so bad at fulfilling the dates. It's either too late or too early or just so far in advance. It's just crazy. I'd rather just show up to stores, the stock's there, and that's when I'm buying my stuff. That's just me personally. But I'm also pretty much out of the Black Series line, out of all the announcements that they made during this live stream, there's only really one thing that I'm going to be purchasing, and we will definitely talk about it when we get to that section. But before we get to all that, let's go ahead and dive into some other toy news, starting off with, of course, my favorite toy company and a lot of people's not so favorite Batman 89 pre-orders, Mezco Toys, because their Mezco Toys Fair is starting up next week. So even more for people to gripe about that haven't gotten their Batman 89 yet, because on week 1, on February 8th, they will be soliciting pre-orders for a new 1/12 collective figure. What will it be? Probably something Rumble Society, and probably something that ships within the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's what I'm saying. Some people are going to be happy and some people are not going to be. So it's going to be 3 weeks this time instead of just over 1 weekend. And I think they said it's going to be taking place on Wednesdays. So week 1, like I said, February 8th, they are going to be releasing a 1/12 scale pre-order. Week 2 is for you Living Dead Dolls fans, because February 15th, they will be releasing pre-orders for a new Living Dead Dolls figure. And week 3, guys, February 22nd, you Kaiju fans, they said they've got something in store for you guys. So 3 weeks of fun, 3 weeks of excitement, 3 weeks of holy crap, my wallet's gonna be fucking dead, in store for us coming up starting next fucking week, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about another fucking game, my wallet's gonna die, toy company from this week, and that is McFarlane Toys, because they showed off their Dark Knight Wave, everything but the Build-A-Figure, which they'll probably show off tomorrow on Saturday, which I'll have already filmed this, and so maybe I'll insert a photo of the figure or the Build-A-Figure here. Or he may even possibly wait till Monday. So we'll have to wait and see then. But so far he has unveiled Batman, which looks absolutely amazing. I always say this, whenever the Batsuit is like fully armored and tactical and all that stuff, the hard plastic does it well. It's when his suit is more fabric, more, tights material, that it doesn't do so well in the hard plastic form. And that's why I think the McFarlane Toys, the Batman figure, is such a phenomenal figure, because aside from the hard shell cape, The costume looks amazing because it's that armored costume type, so it looks really well in that hard plastic. So the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously it was grounded. He was wearing actual like military grade armor and everything, so it looks absolutely phenomenal. Now this is based off the Dark Knight bat suit that he gets upgraded from the Batman Begins one. Will we ever see a Batman Begins bat suit Batman for McFarlane Toys? I have no fucking clue, guys. We'll have to wait and see. Now, I will say that if they were going to do that and they wanted to give us a full wave and not just one figure, they could do Batman in his Batman Begins outfit, Bruce Wayne in his ninja training outfit, Ra's al Ghul in his ninja training outfit, and a Batman Begins Scarecrow figure. And you'll see why I'm saying that right now. And the Build-A-Figure being that was it fear-induced image of Batman, where he's all big and dark and just oily, or I don't know what he's slimy. I don't know what he is, but that one. So I feel like that could be another separate wave, McFarlane Toys, if you want to give us those figures. But if not, I mean, we have the Dark Knight trilogy wave. So we are getting Batman, of course. We are getting Two-Face, which actually looks really fucking good. This is what sold me on it. When I saw Batman, I was like, okay, yeah, that looks good. When I saw Two-Face, I was like, okay, I'm in. But I was really hoping and praying they didn't fuck up the Joker, because if you were alive and old enough to remember back when The Dark Knight was released, those Joker figures were not the best likeness to Heath Ledger. So I was really, really skeptical about the Joker figure in this wave. But of course, before he can unveil the Joker, he of course has to unveil Scarecrow. And this does look more along the lines of a Batman Begins Scarecrow versus a Dark Knight Scarecrow, but it kind of looks like it also could be like in the middle, like he just escaped Arkham and he's on his way to get his suit for the Dark Knight, because it doesn't really fit into anything else besides him being in that straitjacket at the end of Batman Begins, and then him being free and in a suit in The Dark Knight. So it's kind of like a weird mashup, but it is Scarecrow. And last but not least, well, I guess not last because we saw the Build-A-Figure, but the last reveal for this week that I was able to catch and put into this weekly was, of course, Heath Ledger's Joker. And okay, Todd, you've done it. You got it right on this one. This is an amazing Heath Ledger's Joker figure, especially for it being a budget figure. I'm in. I'm fucking in. So like I said, that just leaves the Build-A-Figure to be unveiled. Is it Bane? Because he's really not that big of a character in the movie. Obviously he's Bane, but he's still Tom Hardy, which is just a normal human person. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that's going to be the Build-A-Figure, or if they're going to announce him and then the real Build-A-Figure, which is potentially, according to my friend Robert, the Bat Pod. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, if they announce it on Saturday while I'm editing, I can throw up the picture of the figure here. If not, that's what we got so far. So that wraps it up for McFarlane Toys. And now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Star Wars. So like I said, Hasbro had a big live stream for their Star Wars section of their business, I guess. And they announced a bunch of new figures. Obviously, we're not going to go over vintage since I don't really do vintage. I only do 1/12 and 1/9 and 1/6 scale. Right, Beast King was 1/9. Yeah, so I only do those 3 scales. I don't really go down any lower than that. So we're going to just talk about the Black Series, guys. So they did reveal images of the brand new Revenge of the Jedi Darth Vader. So this is essentially just a Vader figure you already have in your collection, just done in the paintwork of the Revenge of the Jedi poster art. So is it cool? Yes. Is it missing Luke? Yes. Are they going to give us Luke eventually? Probably. So, yeah, buy it at your own discretion. But it is considered a deluxe figure, so of course it'll come with that deluxe price. So that's coming up. But so is a deluxe Rebel Soldier. And why is he deluxe? Because he comes with 2 heads or face plates, however they do it. So he comes with a younger head sculpt or faceplate, and he comes with an older faceplate, which may or may not be Captain Rex as a Rebel Soldier. Now, why am I saying this is not a deluxe figure? Well, because they did the same thing with the Hoth Soldier back, in 2020, and it was not a deluxe figure. It was just a basic figure, and it had the same capabilities, the same faceplate swap thing and stuff, and it wasn't a deluxe. It was just a regular figure, guys, and now it is a deluxe figure. But like I said, I am out of Black Series, and that is one of the reasons why all these little gimmicks, guys. I mean, come on. And then on top of that, well, I think he's coming in a clamshell because it's like, it's replica card back and all that stuff and whatnot. So that gets the open clamshell or the clear clamshell. But of course, everything else, like the next figure, Kade-Mundai, he's coming in a closed box, of course. But we are finally getting some more Jedi in the line, which kind of makes me want to dip my toe back in just to grab him real quick and dip out, because I do like my Jedi. And although at the same time, I'm also looking to sell my Black Series collection, so I'm on the fence. I probably won't even dip my toe at this point. I'll probably just walk on by if I happen to see him in store. And so next up, that brings us up to ARC Trooper, or as Hasbro is dubbing him, Clone Commander Jesse. Now this one obviously piques my interest. I may have to dip my toe for this one because, well, it's me as a clone, essentially. I mean, my name's Jesse. His name's Jesse. No coincidence, no familial ties or anything to him. But, it's really cool to have a clone. It's really known and loved in the series with the same name. So that does kind of entice me to kind of pick up Clone Commander Jesse, or I'm sorry, ARC Trooper Jesse. And I may just have to pick up two and get like a custom head sculpt of me, throw my head on there, and so that way the two Jessies can hang out. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But like I stated, he will be the only one that goes up for pre-order. I believe February 11th or the 14th. I'm not 100% sure. A lot of this is actually going to be tied to the Holothon or whatever Target's having this year with collectors and whatnot, because according to the Mad Hatter, we are getting a second Holothon or Target-a-thon, whatever you want to call it, which are supposed to have a lot of NECA releases. And so I don't know if any of these Black Series figures are going to be part of that. You know how every week they announce a different property and all that stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, we are also getting in the Black Series line. It's not a figure, but it is in the Black Series line, and that is the Biker Scout helmet. I have been waiting so long to get one of these in my possession. I don't know if I was just so young and I didn't really pay attention, or if this is real, but back in the day when you would ride the Star Wars ride at Disneyland or the Star Tours ride, it would drop you off at a gift shop, and they used to have helmets. And I remember just wanting one of those helmets, either the Boba Fett one or the Biker Scout helmet one, and they were just astronomical in prices. And so now I have the opportunity to buy one, and you best believe I'm going to be picking that baby up. I don't really know where exactly I'm going to put it, but I have my Boba Fett helmet. I have an array of helmets at this point, to be honest. So much so that I actually returned the Bo-Katan one that I pre-ordered. And now that I'm thinking back at it, I should have kept it. Sorry, Bo. Sorry, I should have kept yours. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be coming out very soon. So for the pipeline reveals for the Black Series, we are going to be getting a Luke Skywalker and Grogu build-up pack, a deluxe Darth Malgus, I guess he's from the Old Republic, and as well as an Ahsoka Loyalist helmet. Now that one I can pass on. I wasn't the biggest fan of that design on the Clone Troopers helmet. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people went crazy for it. I personally just didn't care for it. In fact, my Rex and my Clone Trooper both come with those helmets, and I just don't even. They're in the box. They're in the box, essentially. They'll never wear them, essentially, because I'm not the biggest fan of it. I've seen other clones with designs on their helmets that look cool, but I just wasn't the biggest fan of that as much as other people were. But sticking with the Star Wars theme, but switching it up to SH Figuarts, they did release images of their Kenobi from Kenobi the series. So this is based off his appearance in the Kenobi series, and it's pretty similar to the one that Black Series gave us just a little more high end on the detailing and the paint apps, and of course the articulation and accessories. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about Beast Kingdom, guys. They are hard at work at giving us some phenomenal DC, mainly Batman, but also little Superman characters in their DAH line. Because aside from releasing Batman 89 this year, of course, the Batman Who Laughs with the Wings, they are now soliciting orders for a separate Batman Who Laughs in the line, but this time with 2 Robins on the leash. I thought it was 3 in the comics, so I don't know why we're only getting 2, but this one does not come with the wings as like the first one, so it kind of has to be like pick and choose which one do you want. Do you want the one with the wings? Do you want the one with the Robin slaves? And so for me, I'm only going to go with one of them in my collection personally, and so I'm still deciding on which one, seeing which one has the better value for dollar. Possibly the one with the Robins, however, then you have to think about displaying space, whereas my Beast Kingdom display is pretty crammed in already. Just because of the number of figures that I have in that collection. So I'm going to have to think about it. But yeah, that is a new pre-order that they have out now. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about some G.I. Joe news. It seems like Hasbro was really busy this week with the live streams. So they did announce a new Scrap Iron figure. Like I said before, I'm a very light G.I. Joe fan. Don't know too much about him, but I do admire the figures from afar based off their articulation, their detail, their likeness to the characters, and of course the accessories that they come with. So I do like to see what they come out with, some really cool stuff. I'm more of a fan of Sigma 6, which was an early version of G.I. Joe, than the classic one, which they're kind of working their way through now. Eventually I'm hoping that they get to Sigma 6. That would be really cool, but we'll have to wait and see. Just like I really hope NECA gets to the 2003 cartoon series once they finally run out of characters in the 80s cartoon series, but I don't know if we'll ever get there, but if we ever do, I'm all in. So next up, they did show off a new 2-pack with the Steel Corps. So they are heavy at work with these build-up packs, so that way you guys have plenty of soldiers in your collection to army build. Next up, they did show off the Trouble Bubble and the Televiper. This thing looks very familiar. Like I said, I am a casual fan of the 80s G.I. Joe. I have seen a few episodes here and there, and that Trouble Bubble looks very familiar, so that'll be a fun one to have. And last but not least, they did announce that Snow Job was coming to the line. No real word when. Or maybe they did say when. I never really read the captions on the ones that I'm not too interested in, I'll be honest, guys. Next up, let's talk some NECA news, guys. Now, they didn't really solicit anything this week, but they did have an interview on a separate toy channel, and so we got a few sneak peeks at stuff coming out, such as the animated accessory pack for the TMNT Turtles. That comes with the baby turtles, the TV set, the robot, ooze gun, and so much more, guys. We are also going to be getting Donnie's teleportation machine, and that will be sold as a separate piece, so you don't have to worry about that adding to the accessory pack. However, there's a theory going on, or a rumor based off Mad Hatter, that the accessory pack and a few other things from what we're going to talk about right now are going to be going live at the Target Haulathon 2023. So they're all rumors right now. It's not all confirmed, but it's looking like they're all going to drop on that day or time. So be ready, guys. Be warned. They did also show off images of the gang that mutates and whatnot, with Big Red. The Triceraton from the Mirage comics, man. That is going to be such a beautiful figure and a must-have for myself. Since he is a larger figure, I heard that he is going to go for $50. And we are also going to be getting Shredder mutants as well, and those things look absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay away from them only because I did not pick up the one with the loot crate, so there's no point in having some of them and not all of them, right? So we are also going to be getting Giant Genghis as well. So like I said, there's a rumor going around that these are all going to drop when Haulathon 2023 comes around, but that is not confirmed, so be ready, but also probably not. Like, it wouldn't be smart of NECA to drop all of those all on the same day, right? Because where'd all the money go? You know, I mean, where would it come from? A lot of people would have to pick and choose, and stuff would get left on the shelf. It would just make more sense for them to space it out and have more time for us to buy, get a few paychecks, and then buy some more. But like I said, for me personally, the only thing I'm really going to be grabbing is the Triceratops, but I may want to grab 1 or 4, but we'll have to wait and see until then. Last up, let's go ahead and talk some Diamond Select news, guys. Once again, shout out and thank you to my friends over at Diamond Select, especially their marketing manager, Zach O, for sending over all the images and information for this part of the news. So let's talk their 1/7 mini bus, because Doctor Doom is coming to their line. So this is a different form of Doctor Doom than we normally are used to seeing. Normally we see him in, green and silver. Here he's in white. So it's going to be this version of Doctor Doom, and this mini bus will run you $100. We are also going to be getting some new X-Men the Animated Series 1/7 scale mini bus in the form of Professor X. So this will be a likeness to the 90s cartoon series, and he is going for $120, while Jubilee is going for $90, but both of these will be coming to the 1/7 scale mini bus line very soon. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about those small animated style Marvel statues, because we have 4 new ones to add to the collection. The first one being Captain America Sam Wilson. So this is based off Sam Wilson's appearance in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We are also getting the Winter Soldier. We are also getting the Mighty Thor. Now, I don't know if this is Jane or if this is actual Thor, but it looks like Jane, but it's also called the Mighty Thor, and I don't know if that means that that's Jane or if that's just, I don't know, but we're getting the Mighty Thor. And of course, we have to get Loki with him as well. So next up, we are also getting a new Marvel Select figure in the form of the MCU Doctor Strange. This looks like a phenomenal figure, and hopefully I get the chance to take a look at him and review him and shoot him for you guys. Next up, adding to your 1/6 scale collection, we have the Book of Boba Fett mini bus. So this is based off his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett with his repainted armor and everything. So this looks absolutely phenomenal. This will run you $120. Oh, by the way, those mini animated style Marvel statues will run you $49, and Doctor Strange is $30. So next up, let's go ahead and talk about one more 1/7 scale bust, and that is the Rebels Hera and Chopper 2-pack. You can get this for $120, and it comes with both the character and the droid. Last but not least, they are releasing a 3D half-scale A New Hope Stormtrooper bust, guys. This looks absolutely phenomenal. Probably a fingerprint magnet, but if you keep the kiddos away, which you probably should with it being a $200 3D half-scale bust, it looks absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this week's toy news. So before we get going, I do want to say thank you and shout out to the channel sponsor, Entertainment Earth. You can check out my Entertainment Earth affiliate link down in the description below to check out all sorts of cool figures and support the channel. With that being said, guys, that wraps it up for this week's episode. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode of Coffee and Toys. Hopefully we get Coffee and Toys live coming up this week. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm going to try to make it happen for you guys. So hopefully by next week, you guys have something to watch after this portion. So with that being said, signing out from my friend Mikey here and myself. As always, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a like, share, comment, and subscribe. I've been your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, a.k.a. The Buff Collector. And as always, have a great fucking day. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at Cool Figures. And I do also have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by Cool Figures. Check it out. If you like what you see, leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys like unboxings, check me out over on TikTok at Cool Figures. That's where I post all of my unboxings. And check me out every Sunday for Coffee and Toys, a weekly Toy News Toy Talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, weekly toy haul, and so much more. And join me every Wednesday over on Instagram for Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy hunting, toy photography, and so much more. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really do appreciate it.